All right, welcome back. For this one, so these are ways that people around the world, how we measure weight. Things can weigh in ounces, they can weigh in pounds, or if they're really large, they can weigh in tons. So that's where you might think of like cars, airplanes, or even like really large animals, elephants or whales, things like that. It's just kind of like instead of writing really large numbers for pounds or ounces, it's kind of like a way to create smaller numbers, but they represent really heavy weights. But there's ways to kind of convert back and forth between each. So let's look at these and see how we go from like ounces to pounds, or pounds to tons, or tons to pounds, and so on. So let's see here. We know that for every 1 ton, that's the same thing as 2,000 pounds. And for every 1 pound, that's 16 ounces. So let's look at the first one. The first one says 256 ounces. And they abbreviate using OZ. I don't know why, but ounces. And that equals how many pounds, which is LB. I think I knew once, but I forgot why they use LB. But what do we know? Well, we know that for every pound is 16 ounces. So if you want to find out how many pounds we have, we just divide. Figure 16 or 256 divided by 16 is what? Well, 16 times 1 is 16. That's going to leave me with 9. And then I bring down my 6. Well, let's see. I think 16 will go in there 6 times. Let's see. If I do 16 times 6, yep, that's 36. Carry the 3, that's 96. So 6 times. 16 times 6 is 96, remainder of 0. So I have 16 pounds. So 256 ounces is the same thing as 16 pounds because there's 16 ounces in every pound. And if you have 256 ounces, divide by 16 and you'll get this many pounds. LBS, LB. All right, let's take a look at it. Is there another one like this where we go ounces to pounds? Let's see here. Ounces. Oh, how about this one? 512. 512 ounces. And you want to know how many pounds? Well, again, 16 ounces for every pound. There's 512 of those ounces. 16 times 2 is 32. 16 times 3 is 48. So subtract 48. That leaves you with a remainder of 3 and bring down the 2. 16 times 2 is 32. Remainder of 0. So that means I have 32 pounds right there. So 512 ounces. See, that's a really large number, but if you convert it to pounds, it's much smaller. So I have ounces, tons, tons, and tons. Okay, let's look for a different type of conversion now. What does the next one want? How about tons to ounces? Okay, so this is where the numbers might get large because you have a really large unit, right? Tons are huge. You have 29 of those tons. The letter T means tons. And they want to know how many ounces are those. Well, we know that there's 16 ounces in a pound, and we know that there's 2,000 pounds in a ton. So I think we have to figure out first, how many ounces are in 1 pound? Well, see, we know that there's 16 ounces in a pound. So if I have 29 of those tons, how many pounds is that? So I think I have to start with pounds. So if I have 29 tons, well, that's the same thing. And if it's 2,000 pounds per ton, I have to multiply 29 times 2,000. So let's do that. Let's multiply 2,000 times 29, right? Because that'll tell me how many pounds I have. So let's see, that's 0, 0, 0, that's 18. And to bring down the 0, that's 0, 0, 0. And that's 4. That looks like 58 with 3 zeros. It looks like 58,000 pounds. So 29 tons is 58,000 pounds because it's 2,000 pounds per ton. And now I know that there's 16 ounces in every pound. So our number is going to be very large. Again, so you have a large unit going to a much tinier unit, but the number of ounces is going to be huge. So 6 times 0 times 0 times 0, 1, 2, 3. 6 times 8 is 48, carry the 4. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 4 is 34. So you can see this number is going to be quite large. Bring down the 0. 1 times 0 times 0 times 0. 1 times 8, and then 1 times 5. 0, 0, 0, comma, 8, 12. 4 plus 5 is 9. So we're looking at 928,000 ounces. 928,000 ounces. Right? It's a lot of work to convert. But let's see, maybe there's another example in here where we do something similar. Do we have any more tons to ounces? Nope. Thankfully, we don't have any more tons to ounces, but we do have tons to pounds. So we can do the same thing. We just eliminate the last step. So like number 6. 4 tons equals how many pounds? Well, there's 2,000 pounds per ton. So you have 2,000 pounds and there's 4 of those tons. That's 0, 0, 0, and 8. So that's 8,000 pounds. So this will be 8,000. So if you were going to convert that to ounces, you'd multiply that times 16. Well, what if you have 24 tons? Then you want to know how many pounds that is. So you take your 24 tons, we know that there's 2,000 pounds, and you have 24 tons. Let me write that correctly. Bring this down just a bit. Oh, I left my other drawing down there. Sorry about that. Hold on, let me move this out of the way. Let me copy that and I'll bring it over here. So let's see, I go 4 times 0 times 0 times 0, 0, 0, 0. 4 times 2 is 8. And then bring down the 0, and then I have 2 times 0, 0, 0. 2 times 2 is 4. Add up my place values. I have 8 and 4. It looks like 48,000 pounds. So if you have 24 tons, you have 48,000 pounds. So you'd put a 48,000. And some of you might see the pattern. You probably saw right away if you're multiplying 2,000 times 24. You notice that 2 times 24 is 48. And you just add the 3 zeros. That's fine too. Let's see here. Same idea. You have 18 tons. So if you have 2,000 pounds for every ton and you have 18 of them, again, you might notice that 18 times 2, that's going to be, what, 36? But we can go ahead and multiply that out. 8 times 0 times 0 times 0 times 2 is 16. Bring down the 0. 1 times 0 times 0 times 0. 1 times 2. 0, 0, 0. Bring down the 6 and the 3, and there's 36,000 pounds. So you have 18 tons. That's the same thing as 36,000 pounds. All right, let's take a look at the last two. You want to go from pounds to tons. It's going to be a little bit different. We're going to go the opposite way. So you're going from a smaller unit of weight to a larger one. So your number is going to get smaller instead of larger. So actually the first one we already know. It says how many tons is 2,000 pounds. Well, here it tells us for every 2,000 pounds, that's 1 ton. So that's just 1 ton. The next one says 32,000. If you have 32,000 tons, I'm sorry. Oh no, these are ounces. Oh, if you have 32,000 ounces, how many tons is that? Well, before you go to tons, you have to convert it to pounds. So let's divide. So we know that there's 16 ounces for every pound. If you have 32,000 of them, 16 times 2 is 32. Subtract, that's 0. Bring down the 0. Well, 16 times 0 is 0. Bring down some more help. Well, still 16 times 0 is still 0. And then finally the last one, 16 times 0 will get you 0. So that means there are 2,000 pounds. So if you have 32,000 ounces, you're down to 2,000 pounds. Well, what do we know about 2,000 pounds? We know that for every 2,000 pounds, it's 1 ton. So it's just 1 ton. Because 2,000 divided by 2,000 is 1. Okay, hope this helps. Just keep referring to the video or just reach out for help if you get stuck anywhere. And there's going to be one more video dealing with capacity, like gallons, quarts, pints, and cups.